a little over 6 weeks ago, I tore my pec, and I made a couple videos on that. And since then, I left you guys at the 2 weeks out mark. So I wanted to fill the gap as to my progress from 3, 4, 5, and 6 weeks out from the injury. Now, the first 2 weeks against what I should have done, I did not rest. I tried to do everything I could in order to make it better. In an effort to make it better, instead of just laying down and resting it, I made it a little bit worse. So 2 weeks out from the incident, I did see a doctor. I did end up getting a physical therapist, and I did end up getting an MRI that confirmed that it's only a grade 1 tear. No damage was done to the tendon. It's just some slight muscular damage. But due to the nature of my job as a personal trainer, moving around, trying to load weights and stuff like that those 2 weeks out, as well as trying to self-correct it, I did irritate it more than help it. So on the 3rd and 4th week, because they were very similar to each other, I was in pain probably 50% of the time. Any general movement would irritate it after a long enough period of time. And then once it was irritated and flared up, it took a while to calm it back down. Like I'd have to get to a laying down position, or like sit with my arm cradled in a certain position, or whatever have you. So that was kind of a pain in the ass, but those 2 weeks I was ordered to rest. And so I rested as much as I could. I had clients and people help me with loading things, and I got really articulate with my words. Rather than demonstrating exercises for people, I would just try to use my words as best as I could. So rest was definitely the huge help here. In terms of physical therapy and stuff like that, I went to physical therapy once a week. They would do, some light massage work, some stim, heat, and then they would do passive range of motion and very gentle stretches. At the 2 week mark, you could start stretching, but not like stretching. It's just pretty much just keeping a normal range of motion. You're not actually trying to rip the fibers apart because they're still trying to mend back together. But with that being said, I also included massage therapy twice a week. I asked a physical therapist her thoughts on that, and she said that was a great idea as long as it wasn't too rough. So I would do PT once a week, massage twice a week. I know it's a little pricey to do that, but I'd rather pay the price now rather than have scar tissue form in improper ways or any problems in the future because I didn't take care of the problem at hand the right way. So another thing I decided to do in the 3rd week, the beginning of the 3rd week, was begin a cut. Because prior to that, I was bulking. I got to a peak weight of 197.6 on January 21st. And on January 23rd, I decided, okay, I should just cut because I'm resting now. I'm not putting the excess calories to any good use. And so I've been on a cut since then. As of today, I'm actually 184.6, so down 13 pounds. And I'll probably go down to 180, hold there for a while, and then gradually build myself back up with a very gradual bulk. But I'll save that for another video, just because my intensity isn't still 100% where I want it to be before I start bulking and putting the calories to the good use. Anyways, for the 5th week of the injury, I was only in pain about 30% of the time, which is definitely a big improvement. And I noticed I started to have a better mood boost because I was able to finally work out. For arm training, I was to do anything with a pad support. That way I didn't have to do a lot of adducting or pressing down into the pec or anything like that. Because if I did a tricep extension with a rope, it would irritate it. If I did anything overhead, it would slightly irritate it. So minimizing anything I could to not irritate it. That was the goal pretty much. So preacher curl machine, tricep extension machine, whatever it is, as long as it has a pad and I don't have to overly strain my pec in order to get the same result out of my bis and tris, we were good. Shoulder work was actually very relieving because I actually developed a little bit of tension. There's a coracobrachialis, which is just a small sliver of a muscle that attaches in here and kind of does a similar motion to the pec, adduction and internal rotation of the humerus. That guy got so tight from me holding my arm in a sling position for so long, and lateral raises was literally one of my only reliefs for that. So once I got to working out, I actually just did a bunch of different lateral raise variations. The machine, which was standing machine, where you like go all the way out, like cables and stuff like that. But in terms of like rowing and back work and stuff, anything where I was like above a diagonal, like anything overhead pulling, still irritated it. It didn't matter the amount of weight. So in the 5th week out, I didn't do any of that work. I would strictly do like diagonal pulls, so like a high row or like just a traditional like horizontal row, or like an inverted row on the rings felt decent. But I just had to call it quits before my back was tired, because my pec would start to get, not, I wouldn't say like angry, but it would start to tell me like, hey, if you keep pushing hard and straining, you're going to start using me more than you should. So I was very conscious of that. If I did light dumbbell overhead press, that felt okay, because again, it stretched out that coracobrachialis, felt amazing. And it's actually interesting too, because like pulling downward because of the action of the pec to adduct and bring the arm in was an issue. But anything where I would push away from me felt pretty damn good. And I was able to start doing light cable chest press via the physical therapist's recommendation. She recommended that over dumbbells, push-ups, barbell, bench, anything like that. She just said start with light cables. It's easy to bail on if you need to. And, you know, she actually made a good decision with that, because in the beginning, using just 20 pounds, which is like 10 on each side, it sucked, but it is what it is. Every once in a while, I'd feel like a tweak right where the injury occurred. And so I'd stop, I'd let it rest, I'd go to my next set, and I'd move on. And eventually I'd do that for 30 reps, you know, for 3 sets of 30 reps at 20 pounds. So that was the 5th week. It was kind of a little bit of a struggle, because mentally I want to push, but I know I have to hold myself back when I start to feel anything off in that area. So I don't want to re-trigger it and set myself back any farther. I just want to get on and keep moving forward. So at the point of 6 weeks out, I only had pain when I would trigger it, and it was like 10% of the time. I went on a trip to Disney during that period of time, and like I put a backpack on, and like the backpack strap around the pec where I injured it irritated the crap out of it in the airport. So I put the bag down, you know, I rested for a little while. I did some like arm swings and little light stretches and like light massage to it, and it calmed down. So I just ended up carrying my bag all with my left side until I felt comfortable loading both sides again without it tweaking. I was able to increase my workload. Like I did some heavier arm work, and it was awesome, because I finally went into like full blast. I'm going to push the shit out of preacher curls, because a part of what I want to do, especially going forward, is to develop my arms up. I've lost some size since losing weight, and also since the atrophy from not being able to lift to like a good extent for 4 weeks. But I was able to get 65 pounds for 24 clean reps. So that was super exciting. Gave me like some, you know, a second wind, if you will. It made me pumped up. I was able to incorporate some more heavy back work. The diagonal pulls were feeling better. You know, the inverted rows are feeling better. Everything was just starting to feel better. And at this point, I was able to finally get the chest press by the end of the 6th week out. I was able to get up to 50 pounds for 30 reps on the cable chest press, which felt awesome. And I had no tweaks whatsoever. Today, I actually am going to test the waters and see if I can bump it up to 60 and have no problem again. So fingers crossed, because so far everything feels good. I'm having no hangups anymore. And the pain is like virtually inexistent. I had some general soreness, but I also think like she's doing cupping and massage work still on it. So I'm feeling more general soreness than I am actually like pain, because where the pec connects to the tendon, this whole area right here, I used to just feel like a ripping sharp dagger kind of pain, and that's been a thing of the past for a while. So I plan on keeping it that way. So the main takeaways of this video, and I know it's a long-winded video, and if you have come through to the end here, I hope that some of this helps you. Main takeaways from this. If you think you tore something, see a fucking doctor. All right? In my first week, I had set up an appointment to see a doctor at the end of the first week, and I bailed on it because I started to feel better. And then I had a bad day, and a week later from that, I ended up seeing a doctor anyways. So it's just better to get guidance sooner in the process so you don't dilly-dally around in the beginning, because you might think you know what you're doing with it, but when it comes to yourself, because especially like myself, right? I can help people with injuries. I've done that for 10 years almost now. It's very easy to logically assess someone else and give them advice. But when it comes to yourself and knowing what you should or shouldn't do, especially if you're like me, you're going to be on the more ambitious side. So you're going to want to push yourself and push your luck, and that's going to end up actually pushing you back rather than pushing you forward. So it does help to go to see a doctor. It did help to go get an MRI because it completely settled my mind. I was like, oh my God, I don't have any other damage other than the muscle tissue, and I could deal with that. And it helped to have the physical therapist because they guided me and put me on a path. It wasn't like an option, you know what I mean? Like I had to follow what they had told me to do because I'm paying them for the sessions and I'm going to them regularly. And I don't want to be a jackass, go there and be like, oh no, I messed up, I'm a week back. I just want to get better. So those are some really big takeaways from this. Also too, when they say rest, like rest. Anything you can do to give this side a break, rest. Assuming like you did something similar to me. Obviously, this applies to any other injury, whether it's like a knee, a hip, a back, whatever. But I even did something like certain things to the point where like for those 2 weeks where I was ordered to rest, I put my phone in my left pocket, which I hate. It was so awful. But I'd put my phone in my left pocket and I would use my left hand to use the phone because even small little motions like that would re-irritate the pec and it would be really annoying. And don't push your luck. Anytime you feel pain, just stop. You know, you don't have to be a hero for anyone. You're just going to be a dumbass at the end. So if you feel something off, stop, assess the situation, and also evaluate. Am I freaking out because I think I'm doing something wrong? Or do I actually feel this? And is this a bad thing for me? Because a lot of times I would trick myself. I'd get so used to like slinging my arm to my side and doing nothing with it to the point where I'd freak myself out. I'd be like, oh my God, I did something wrong. No, it's okay. It's okay. My shirt is just touching my pec and that's all I'm feeling is fabric touching my arm. But mentally you could throw yourself into a loop. So try to stay calm, try to stay in a positive mindset. And remember that this is only temporary because in the grand scheme of things for life and my lifting life especially, this is a blip. I've got decades and decades of lifting ahead of me and I plan to keep it that way. So that's that. The only other main takeaway I would like to say, I know like I've seen that a few different people online because when I was in the hole of the injury, I was looking up pec tear, pec tear, pec tear. First off, I'm very surprised to see how many of the people that I actually follow and watch regularly have encountered a similar issue. Very shocking to me because I never saw those videos until I looked for them. But also, there are people out there that are on anabolics and stuff, and their experience with this is very different than that of a natural. You know, like you got guys out there that are on stuff, and it's not to discredit them, it's just to be real. They heal a lot quicker. You know, for me, it's taken 6 weeks to the point where I feel good and like great. And it's funny because these guys that are on anabolics, they had the same timeline, but it was just half the time. So be careful with the content you consume during a period like this because it could definitely sway you to think that you're doing worse than you actually are and stuff like that. Because some of the things that these guys were able to do, I wasn't able to do until literally twice the amount of time that they were able to do it. So keep yourself in mind, listen to your doctor, your physical therapist, make sure you get a good one. And if you're going through it, I really hope you heal fast and I hope this helped. I'll see you guys in the next one.